A Northern California wildfire has destroyed 37 structures, at least some of them homes. The figure is up from 17 destroyed structures previously reported by state fire officials. However, the blaze weakened significantly Monday and waves of the thousands of Oroville residents, whose homes were evacuated at the fire's peak, were being allowed to return. Officials say 5 more structures were damaged by the wildfire north of Sacramento, that has burned 9 square miles and is 40% contained. They would not say how many of the burned structures were homes. It's among several large wildfires burning around California and throughout the West. A Northern California man learned his home is still standing when he returned from evacuating from a wildfire zone. Chuck Wilsey told the Associated Press on Monday that he's relieved, but cautious, and is already planning for the next evacuation should it come. Wilsey says he's keeping his trailer attached to his truck and telling his daughters to gather prized possessions they couldn't get the first time around. Others were not as lucky. One home was gone except for its chimney. Another was nearly destroyed, with gnarled appliances and a burned-out car the main remnants. Wilsey was among thousands who had evacuated from a wildfire near Oroville. The blaze has destroyed at least 17 structures, but authorities could not say how many of those were homes. The fire has burned 9 square miles. Further south, at least 3,500 people remain evacuated as 2 fires raged at separate ends of Santa Barbara County. Firefighters are battling blazes across the U.S. West and in Canada. California fire officials are warning residents in wildfire areas to get out immediately if authorities issue evacuation orders. Bennett Milloy, spokesman for the state's Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, said Monday that officials had to send in 3 engine crews to rescue a person who ignored weekend orders to leave as flames approached mountain homes. Milloy says officials will always try to save human lives, but the effort can sometimes drain resources needed elsewhere. He says 3 engines can protect up to 20 homes. Milloy says crews fighting a 9 square mile fire near Oroville in Northern California are contending with steep terrain, soaring daytime temperatures and the possibility of renewed winds. In Southern California, at least 3,500 people remain evacuated as 2 fires raged at separate ends of Santa Barbara County. Firefighters are battling blazes across the U.S. West and in Canada. A wildfire ignited by lightning in Canada's remote Yukon Territory has crossed the U.S. border into Alaska, while another nearby fire in Alaska has crossed into Canada. Fire managers said Monday a 140 square mile 364 square kilometer fire is straddling the border near an old Alaska Native settlement of Old Rampart, about 20 miles west of the border. Alaska Fire spokesman Sam Harrell says no structures are threatened by that fire. Harrell says another Alaska wildfire triggered by lightning earlier this month several miles to the north crossed the border into Canada and is threatening an old historic settlement there. Yukon Territory Fire spokesman George Moratis says fire crews have shored up protections around the site, including protective burning and clearing brush and debris. He says no injuries have been reported. When Chuck Wilsey was ordered to evacuate this weekend as a wildfire roared near his ranch home in Oroville, California, he was ready. Wilsey says he started keeping his truck and camper loaded with supplies in February after anxiously watching a creek on his property swell during winter rains that prompted thousands to flee when spillways in the nation's tallest dam began crumbling. He's one of about 4,000 people who evacuated as flames raced through foothills in the Sierra Nevada, about 97 kilometers north of Sacramento. Crews are making progress on that fire and 2 major blazes burning in Santa Barbara County. Authorities are hopeful some Oroville evacuees will be able to return Monday. The fire has blackened 9 square miles of grass. It's 35% contained. The area burning is southeast of Oroville, where dam spillway damage led to temporary evacuation orders for 200,000 residents downstream. The fight against a wildfire that temporarily forced the evacuation of hundreds of people near the resort town of Breckenridge, Colorado, is winding down. Firefighters had built containment lines around 85% of the blaze as of Monday, and residents of nearby homes were no longer on standby to evacuate. Crews and equipment were starting to be sent to other fires burning around the western U.S. In Arizona, residents who fled the rural community of Dudleyville, about 160 kilometers southeast of Phoenix, over the weekend because of a wildfire were allowed to return home. Pinal County authorities say the evacuations were lifted Sunday evening after crews stopped the growth of the fire, which has destroyed 3 homes. In New Mexico, firefighters are mopping up a wildfire that sent up a tall plume of smoke from mountains overlooking Albuquerque late last week. Slightly cooler temperatures and diminishing winds are helping California firefighters as they battle several wildfires that have forced thousands to flee their homes. California's Fire Protection Agency says crews are making progress on a blaze that swept through grassy foothills in the Sierra Nevada, about 97 kilometers north of Sacramento. About 4,000 people remain evacuated, but authorities are hopeful some will be able to return Monday. The fire has blackened 23 square kilometers of grass. It's 35% contained. In Southern California, at least 3,500 people evacuated as 2 fires raged at separate ends of Santa Barbara County. The largest has charred more than 116 square kilometers of dry brush and is threatening more than 130 rural homes. It's 15% contained. About 80 kilometers to the south, a 44 square kilometer blaze shut down State Route 154 and sent weekend campers scrambling for safety. It's just 5% contained.